Book Bears podcast. I'm Bill Zanowitz,
I'm Steve Morey.
I'm Caleb Alexander McKenzie.
and we are your hairy heavy homos that talk about comic books, but you don't have to be a hairy heavy homo to listen in or possibly stream in. We're back with you just before the Thanksgiving holiday, a week away, and we got some mostly indie books to talk about. There's a little bit of news. How have you guys been doing these last 2 weeks?
Oh, it's been busy.
Mhm.
It's been busy, but I do, I was really happy last week. Jason was working as a local stitcher for the Jinx and Dela holiday special show that they last year they did this, and this year again they do the tech rehearsals in Charlotte before they launch on the tour. So it's essentially it's the pre-show of the first launch, or the first shows that they have. And so you got to work it for last week, and then on Thursday we got to go and see it, and it was just an absolute blast. So if you can get tickets, get the tickets. They're going all over the US and parts of Canada, so definitely check it out as it comes through your town. And I think they're actually running through New Year's, I believe. So it's you can catch it now before Christmas, or you can catch it after Christmas. But it is absolutely awesome. And sort of the format this year is horror anthology. So perfect for me. I was like, oh my god, they're just extra cool. But also I got to meet them, which was really, really special. So yeah. That was the coolest thing that happened to me the past 2 weeks.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I am very much looking forward to the holidays, just for time off, and not to be at work. Other than that, we're good. No major complaints. Ready for next week, where I actually get to go see a NFL game live and in person. Looking forward to that. So
Cool.
yeah.
So
That's awesome.
I actually did not go to the Packers-Giants game on Sunday.
Yeah.
Initially, my best friend was supposed to fly in from Melbourne, Florida, and we were going to go see, and I actually did see, the ballet that was based on the Who's Quadrophenia in New York City on the Saturday night. And since he was coming in, I didn't want to get tickets. And then when he wasn't coming in, the tickets were just like a little too much to justify it at that point. And plus, it was like I knew I was going to have a very long Saturday, so I actually didn't go. And that was a weird game anyway. I would have had palpitations. They won, but it didn't feel like a win. And then, but in terms of stuff that I did in the interim, me and the concert husband had comps to see Marshall Crenshaw and the Bongos in New York on one night, and then like I said, I saw the ballet that was based on the Who's Quadrophenia. Made it a full day, so I saw Matinee, not a very good play called Not Ready for Prime Time, about the early years of SNL. Yeah, it wasn't very good. Yeah, well,
Was it more the cast just didn't really fit, or
no,
was it the writing was kind of?
It was like it was like a very superficial treatment of what really is kind of juicy material. I mean, a lot went on those first 5 years, Yeah, so it just felt like it felt like they were like checking off the boxes and not really getting into the meat. There were some good performers, but if I could do it again, I would have seen the goddamn Muppets on that magic show. So
reasonable.
Yeah. And then upcoming for Thanksgiving, again, my partner is still out in the Bay Area until December 10th. So I did get adopted for Turkey Day. So that's nice. It was not a day I was looking forward to spending alone.
Sure.
So,
No. Thanksgiving's one of those holidays where, I mean, it is essentially, it's an artificial holiday. It's not connected to any kind of, religion or anything like that. so it's really, it is kind of weird to be alone on it, because it's like, of all the things, like it should be something that you celebrate secularly with friends, or you go see a football game, or you do something, something fun. But yeah, no, that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad you got adopted.
Well, it was funny because growing up, one of the big traditions was I went on mute. I've been having some coughing problems tonight. In the New York area, like the TV was a big deal. One of the local stations would run the Laurel and Hardy version of March of the Wooden Soldiers in the mornings is kind of the kickoff of the Christmas season, and then in the afternoon it was like King Kong, a Godzilla film, and Mighty Joe Young. So that was that garnered huge. Like when I associate Thanksgiving, there's a lot of TV for me.
Yeah,
it gets associated with that.
I'd agree. It kind of started maybe in the early mid '90s, but I'm a huge fan of Mystery Science Theater 3000, and they became known for their Turkey Day marathons. So it'd be an all day or 20 straight hours, and it's called Turkey Day. And they would have like the big jingle. They would really hype the crap out of it, and you would get to see just a plethora of terrible movies with a lot of humor. And they would also do like little news skits in between commercial breaks and stuff, just to kind of promote the day, which was a lot of fun. They did that for several years. I can't recall if they did that after they had moved to the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah, I remember more the Joel than the Mike for that. So I have a feeling when they did go to Comedy Central, they didn't do that.
Yeah, but they did it for a few years at Comedy Central, and I can't remember for Sci-Fi. They might have tried to bring it back.
Because I'm much more a Mike Nelson guy than a Joel guy. So
yeah, I'm charitable to both. I enjoy both of them.
Well, I think by the time they got to the Mike, they perfected a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
yeah. But
I have no opinions on this. I'm not an MST3K person. So just not something I've ever, and it's not that I've seen a little bit of it. It's not something I dislike. I've just never, waded into the waters, so to speak, to really embrace it. So yeah, it's always funny when we're talking about like for Thanksgiving, kind of the way you associate it and the traditions and stuff. So I don't come from a big football family. So my family doesn't do the whole like everybody gets together and watches football. My family is very religious, and so it's not a lot of TV or the specials. I mean, the Charlie Brown specials on Thanksgiving, we always watch those. But it was more of just I have a very big family, and so it was just a lot of people getting together and just loud, and a lot of people packed into small spaces. And so that's kind of what I associate with. And I'm lucky in the sense that Roger and I, we both have those families who still do a lot of that stuff. And so like this weekend, we're doing Thanksgiving with my family on Saturday. So I've got to get up early and put some ribs on the smoker and get that done. We're taking my nephew to Dallas to see the Dallas-Kansas City game. And then the next weekend, we're doing Turkey Day with his family. So it's basically an entire week, like 9-day stretch of just celebratory things with like 1 day of work in the middle of it.
Nice.
So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to just spending some time not in the office and taking a break for a little bit. It's been a lot.
Yeah. No,
and I'm gonna do the Record Store Day Black Friday.
Are you?
Yeah. There's like 1 or 2 things I want to pick up, and there's some comic shops have sales, and then I'm probably gonna go to a bear event called Santa Saturday in Bucks County.
What's the theme?
What do you think, dude? Wicked.
Well,
that would not be a surprise.
You will see some Glinda and some Elphaba bears, I am sure.
Elphaba
it does open, doesn't it open this week?
Yeah, we're going Friday.
Yeah, I still haven't seen the first film, so.
Really?
Yeah. I eventually will. I don't have a opposition to see it. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
No, it's just that because you're such a theater guy that I like it. That surprises me.
Yeah, but it's weird. Like when it comes to like I've seen Wicked.
Sure.
I've seen the stage show, but it doesn't always translate to when there's an adaptation to it. Like I still haven't seen Rent. I still haven't seen the film of Rent.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I still haven't seen. I did see Cats the first day it came out, I think, or whatever. It was Christmas Eve when we saw Cats. And Rob was very funny. It's like night of the Blessed Virgin Birth, and we were going to see Cats. But yeah, I don't really. I'm not like invested with
Sure.
that, like, because I am with like the stage stuff. Les Mis I saw.
Yeah, that was worth seeing.
Yeah, there's some stuff. Yeah, it's like I didn't really like Hugh Jackman in that role. I was disappointed in him in that.
Oh,
So
well, I mean, I'm sure that we'll probably see it sometime next week. I don't think we'll do movies with the kids because we are going up to Indiana to be with my brother and his family, but also my parents are going to be up there, as well as my youngest brother, who has not had any holiday with us or really any get together with all of us for almost 10 years. It's been a long time. So it'd be great to actually see him, together with the rest of us, as well as, getting to see my niece and nephew and all of the dogs, because we are all bringing our dogs. So there'll be 7, I think, plus my brother's new cat. So
Are your cats staying home though?
Yeah, our cats are staying home. They do not travel, as well as the birds. They'll be watching the birds. They'll be taking care of the birds for us. Should be really good. They are pretty self-sufficient. We've got an auto feeder. We've got a litter robot. The cats will be good. And then we have, hopefully our neighbor is going to be able to come in and check on the birds for a couple days.
Cool.
So, yeah. But it should be nice. We're really looking forward to seeing family.
Yeah. I don't have any family left, so I don't have that.
But you got friends.
No, but this is also like the start of my seasonal depression. So
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Which doesn't end till like All Kings Day.
And it basically ends because you bite into the king cake and you
take
get the baby.
Catholic out of the kid.
You have to find the baby. Once you find the baby, everything will be okay.
Oh man. Anyway, there's been a little bit of news, and Steve, why don't you take us through some of the?
Yeah, there's been some. It's been a bit crazy. So I don't know if many people really follow non-US comic conventions, but one of the biggest one in Europe, biggest one internationally, is the Angoulême Festival that happens in France every January, and they have been going through drama all year long. The company that essentially puts on the festival, that's it basically hired to do it every year, has been under fire for quite a while, especially the director himself being under fire because he's infamously known for being abusive, for just being a kind of a shady character. And there was also a very prominent story that came out last year where one of the employees who was working at the festival was sexually assaulted. And when they reported it, they were fired because it would have, I don't know, besmirched the name of the festival or something. So, everybody's in arms. All of the vendors, or pretty much all the vendors, all the major publishers that normally attend, a lot of artists and writers who normally are represented there, they've all basically canceled. So they went into crisis mode. Basically the government of the city also has a stake in the Angoulême Festival. It's a huge draw for the city. I mean, it's a big money making thing, but also they do have a bit of involvement. I guess they're on the council or the board that puts on the festival as well, because there is sort of like an organizational board. And so they basically were like, we have to do something about this. Get rid of this guy. Get rid of this company. Do something to get this started. So the council went and they voted to keep the company running or managing the festival, but to have the guy step down and go away. That did not please anybody, because one, they got rid of the obvious problem, but then also the other problem is the council keeps hiring this company even though they know that it's pretty shady and that there's been all these problems. And so basically it's a full-on, like what the French are really good at, strike to not attend until basically the head of the council, who's been doing this with getting bids to run the show, all like basically overturn the whole group and install something new. And I mean, with less than 2 months to go, I don't know if they'd be able to do it and pull it off. I mean, it was all pretty much all set, except for the fact that people started canceling. I want to say around mid to late October, and then it's just been a cascade since, and nobody seems to want to come back. So it might not happen for 2026. Would be pretty shocking if it didn't. So, and a pretty big loss too, because it's a pretty major festival internationally. A lot of exposure for a lot of the artists and writers, and just a big draw. So a lot of vendors and publishers get a lot of their stuff out, especially in Europe. So
I never was that interested in Angoulême, but I really would love to go to Lucca. Lucca is the one that I really would love to go to.
Yeah, for me, it's Lake. Is it Lake Como?
In Switzerland,
the Comic Art Festival. What is
That's
that?
not ringing a bell for me. Like I know MCM and Thought Bubble are England.
Yeah, Thought Bubble would be so much fun to go to.
Yeah,
but Angoulême as well. I mean, I'd love to go to Angoulême.
Yeah, but Lucca just sounds so cool with it, like basically being an old, just an old village, and they basically take over the whole village for the con. Yeah,
comics everywhere.
Yeah, Lake Como Comic Art Festival. That's the big one where a lot of your big money people go and buy, and it's just insane.
But it's art.
Yeah. Yep.
So comics art and all that.
May 16th through 18th.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely love to go see. I wouldn't mind going up to what's the big one in Toronto? Is it TCAF?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Toronto Cartoon
Art Festival. That sounds right.
Like that Comic Art Festival. I would love to go to see that. I haven't been out of the country for any festivals for such a long time, so anything sounds good about now getting out of the country just to see comics stuff. That's the only reason to leave the country. To see cool comic stuff. But yeah, I mean, it'd be really disappointing if they can't fix this. But right now, I don't know if they can. I mean, the organizers have really damaged the reputation of the festival, and I think it might really need a full overhaul before it starts up again. So, and Bill, you had mentioned something about a recent auction.
Yeah, Heritage had an auction today, in fact, and they auctioned off a copy of Superman 9.0 that went for, I think, $7.2 million. But with the buyer's fee and everything, it comes to like over $9 million. I have to say, in the pictures that I've seen of that, it does not look like a 9.0 to me. There's a visible rip. It's like there's almost a stain on it. But still, I mean, that's pretty incredible, because I think the record prior to this was an Action #1 at 6.5 million.
Mm-hmm. So you guys, you probably know more about the grading and stuff than I do, though. But do they take into account just the fact that there's not a lot of those in existence?
I believe they do. I don't think a Golden Age book is graded under the same qualifications as a Silver Age book. It's still pretty stringent,
Yeah.
but
Right.
I do think they make some allowances, and some of that is, paper stock. It's more brittle, than
Yeah.
Mhm.
because
Well,
I'm not a grade snob. I'm
sure.
happy with as many
Reader
back
copies.
issues as I have.
Yeah.
I'm okay with readers for certain books. And people have told me like the 70s is the best. Like that's the best in terms of restoration. Like the 70s books respond best to pressings. When you press a book and um but it's my understanding that if you have a book from 1938 and it receives a high grade, it may not exactly be under the same criteria as a book from like 1964.
Right. And it would be kind of wild to have a book look as pristine as, say, something that just came off the press last week.
Sure.
That is at this point over
Yeah.
90
But
years
there
old,
are a
90 years
handful
old.
of 9.8s from the Golden Age. Not a lot, but there are a handful. Yeah.
You wonder if somebody was prescient back then, when these were
I
coming
think
out going,
most of the
that
time,
looks
if you
good."
have a 9.8, it's from archives from publishers.
Yeah. I
That would make
think so.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like a copy that's put away just to, have a library copy of it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you almost have to have it in like an air seal or something like that, just so acids and stuff don't, just naturally degrade over time.
But that even happens with like recent books. Like,
Yeah.
like you can even see like with some of the stock covers, they're are heavier grade than a regular issue. You put those in a regular plastic, and the plastic starts bubbling over
Mm.
time a little bit. So there
You
is
get that- you get that
there's
air
like a
bubble.
different acidity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the science of it, but I don't care enough to read about it.
We've talked
neither.
about the molecular structure of plastic way more than we should tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So speaking of, the reason why plastic kind of came up earlier is because Funko just had their third quarter earnings, or should I say losses. So they, as a company, Funko has not been doing very well. They're not, they're not bringing in the income that they had been previously. They hit their peak around the pandemic, which makes perfect sense because people were home. They had a lot of disposable income, and they were able to buy a lot. But after that, I'd say in the past couple of years, they've had some, some pretty significant, misses for their sales targets.
It also was the case. Like I seem to remember there were a lot of articles when they did first go public, and their earnings really weren't that impressive given the reach that they have at retail.
Right.
Yeah. So,
but I mean, they were selling something because so many comic shops, Walmarts and Targets were stocking tons of them.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't have done that if they weren't selling
You
it.
still find them there.
Yeah.
But not to the extent that they used to. And I know a lot of stores that carry them.
Target is about the same. I haven't noticed any change.
I have the Target around me.
Oh no,
barely any.
No,
barely any.
Not where I am.
Oh,
not at all.
We're sending all of our stock there because maybe there's still people in Jersey buying them.
Yeah. I don't actively look at them. I know whenever the few times I do go to Target, when I go back to the little like niche toy section, there's more in the one here in Little Rock. There's not as many pops as there are like horror movie random action figure things. They even got some, like I bought one of the NECA gargoyles things there.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was going to say like the NECA and McFarlane and
the NECA figures.
Have
you get a lot of those.
But a lot of the pops that they have, honestly, I don't even see them mostly in that section. You go in like the weird little like niche places where they'll have like just a certain type of pop in places, but I don't actively look them out. I know they're still on Hot Topic. I know they're still in a lot of the novelty stores and stuff like that too.
Yeah. What's that other one? Oh God, I can't think of the name. They just opened like another one here. It's like a Hot Topic, but not as like stoner. I mean, it's
was
like a
gonna-
Spencer's gift, but not a
I was
stoner.
going to say Spencer's, and you said not a stoner. I'm like, well, that rules that one out.
Box lunch, bag lunch, something like
Yeah, box
Yeah,
lunch.
maybe.
I've heard, we don't have those here, but I've heard about
yeah.
them.
Yeah.
They just started opening them up around me.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
I remember one of the biggest retailers for Funkos that I recall before they all went under were the FYEs. FYE would have like a full wall of them. It would just be this huge thing. You could get
Yeah.
pretty much anything.
Well, Best Buy still
but
has
then-
them too, I think. But
Best Buy, yeah, I have seen some at Best Buy.
I have
GameStop.
not been in a Best Buy in like 2 years.
Yeah.
At least. You know, when they started phasing out the home video.
yeah,
Yeah,
there
it's
was
a big
no
reason not
for
to
me
go.
to go there.
I just go for like the random computer, paraphernalia that I just don't want to wait for if I order it online.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
can say that as somebody who very recently went to the flagship store in Everett, Washington, you would never know there was any issue with their
Oh, I'm
solvency
sure.
there. I can tell you that. I mean,
I'm sure.
I was
that's
there
good.
on I was there on a Friday morning, and it was like another store like Saturday peak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that. And I would be very surprised if, they just, if they scaled back their production or something like that to kind of keep up, because they were making pops for everything. So, and that was just the pops. They also did the soda, like the soda can things that were not as popular. The
Yeah,
mini,
it seems that's like the biggest. They don't seem to have been able to venture past the standard
bobbleheads.
pops very successfully for an extended period of time. You know, I'm thinking of the cereals,
yeah.
the cereals were pretty cool, but they
but
didn't.
I don't think they even go that route anymore.
I never did get my box of Flash.
I got my box of Flash, but it was beat
did.
up.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Mine was just disintegrated before it got to me.
Yeah. And we were both DCBS for that, right?
Yep.
Yep.
That was one of the cool things. I was like, I could get this through DCBS, but nope, never got it.
But yeah, FYE
obviously the diamond bankruptcy
Yeah.
didn't help Funko distribution at all.
I also got like the Struts cereal from FYE with the single on it.
Interesting.
And a pop inside of the lead singer. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was reading an interesting sort of. It was almost like a retrospective article by Heidi McDonald in the Comics Beat, where she was like almost lamenting that it was already gone, and I'm like, okay, they haven't gone under yet. Come on, like don't be too. But even she was saying it's like it's such a. And it's been around for such a long time. Like for more than just like a standard trend, like it kind of, it's extended a lot
like
longer.
Pogs.
Yeah, I mean it's not like a Cabbage Patch doll. Like it's not like a. Would she also say? I think she said something about like I don't know, like
No, but it's because of the variety of product that they have.
Yeah. Because it appeals to more than just
the closest
nerds.
equivalent to a toy line is Hot Wheels.
Probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just the saturation.
But she was just wondering, I think, more along the lines, could it ever be like a G.I. Joe or a Barbie where it just kind of lasts through generations? And it probably not in the same way, but I think it's got the reach that even if they scaled everything back and it really just went to like a few niche, groups that were buying them, they would still be hanging on for a very long time.
Yeah.
Or if they ever did go under, somebody would revive them. Eventually.
I don't even think it's going to get to the point of revival. I think there will be a continuance. It just might not be a Funko Incorporated.
Yeah. Somebody else might purchase them. Like you said, I think you said something like Mattel or Hasbro will step in.
Oh, yeah.
It'll just be a division of them. But, I've got my pops.
Yeah.
The ones I like. So,
yeah, that's my thing. Like, I don't dislike pops. I mean, I've got plenty of pops in here in the shelf behind me. But for me, I would much rather not like the pops, like the bobbleheads like that's cool, but I'd much rather have like a 3/4 inch action figure or something
Yeah,
like that.
me
Like if I
too.
was going to go out of my way, and the vast majority of pops that I have been gifts from people that people got for me, which is awesome. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm not appreciative because I am. I mean, I've got them on display. I think they're awesome. It's just
Oh, yeah.
not something I go out of my way to collect, mostly because there are so many of them, and I just don't have room. I would much rather. So like I'm looking at my shelves up here. Like there are other PVC type things that like so this right. I've got all the Avengers, like the Captain America PVC stuff. Um, that I'd much rather spend like 30 to $40 on something like this than a pop, just because of the comic, the comic look to it or something like that. But again, that's just my personal taste. So it just, I guess it depends on the person. But
Yeah.
as I
The only time I was like really collecting pops was for the DC Extended Universe.
Yeah.
And when that came to an end, I was, and as much as I've enjoyed Superman and Creature Commandos, I ain't going down that route. I don't have the space, I don't have the interest, and I don't want to spend the money.
Yeah, that's a big chunk.
Any future pop things are going to be like real novelties, like the Cary Grant Northwest that I found. Like, I literally, I was like, you have never seen somebody grab a product that quickly.
Yoink, mine. Yeah.
So I guess my question to you guys would be, and there's so many of them, I don't even know if I can give an answer to this that doesn't actually exist, but is there anything that you don't think that they have turned into a pop that you would like them to?
Oh yeah, the Little Rascals.
Okay, Little Rascals, that's a good one. Yeah.
The Little Rascals.
Well, actually,
that I would want.
Yeah. I mean, they've turned MST3K into Funko Pops for me. So like, I mean, I've already kind of gotten those. The Fraggles, we have all of the Fraggles.
Yeah, I don't think there's been an official Beatles. I think there's been like John Lennon.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Beatles have ever. And of course, I mean, like the evergreen answer, Calvin and Hobbes.
That's interesting. Yeah, I would love a Calvin and Hobbes. Like, I mean, I've got a Judas Priest.
I'd love a Calvin and Hobbes anything.
Yeah. I mean, like personally, and this is tattoo on my arm. Like, I would love Tom of Finland pops. Like, that would be awesome. I'm sure there is some knockoff thing out there that is for it, but like, I'd go for a Tom of Finland pop. That'd be pretty cool.
So James has joined us, and they never did a Donna Troy Funko Pop, and that's a freaking crime.
Not even the TV show Titans.
I know.
Yeah.
So shocked.
Yeah, Donna Troy would be good.
That would be fantastic. Well, which Donna Troy? I think you would have everything would be a chase version of Donna Troy. There'd be 15 of them. Which one's the real one? Well, that's up to you to decide which one you prefer.
Donna Troy could be her own line.
Really good.
The Troys. You can mix and match your Donna Troys. But yeah, exactly, James. I mean, there are some out there that are just kind of, weird omissions. But then again, they also have Funko Pops for like, I don't know. Well, for sports stars. I mean, Bill, you got didn't you get like an Aaron Rodgers?
Jones, yeah.
An Aaron Jones, yeah. So there's, they have a lot, maybe too much, and maybe that might be the problem. But also that could have been what gave them the reach and what gave them the visibility that everybody knows them. That it's kind of like a pop culture staple.
And plus, they're like perfect gifts for people.
Oh yeah,
if
you like a thing,
really into something, a friend of mine's really into Ghost. They got a Papa.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to think about it. I didn't have to.
Also, just saw where
they have it. They don't have this.
Yeah. Just saw where Ghost went like double platinum.
Really?
Or something. There was some big news article this week about Ghost just like selling an insane amount of records. Just interesting. Which, I mean, that's neither here nor there. I just thought it was an interesting thing.
Yeah, no, it's just cool. Like it's just weird that like double platinum is a big deal now.
Yeah.
Where diamond used to be the big deal.
Well, I mean, selling albums, people actually purchasing albums, that is not as common.
No, but one thing I will give Swifties and I will give K-pop fans and I will give metal fans is they buy physical.
Yeah.
They buy physical. And like he's waving and looking behind me here. Yeah.
I see it.
I'll give them that, and all the like the stories of when Adele or Taylor Swift has a release that they kind of prevent anybody else from pressing records for at least 2 weeks
because they use it all.
At least that's there, at least that's
vinyl.
there,
Yeah.
But some of the costs are like insane though, for like like the Beatles anthology, that vinyl, that is completely cost prohibitive. You have to be a big fan and have a healthy bank account to warrant like $382 or whatever the list price is for that.
Yeah.
Well, at least that's a multi-pack record. Like I was looking, they are finally, and I know this is not comics news, but they are finally reissuing Alice in Chains, self-titled album. That came out this past like 2 weeks ago, so they're finally reissuing it, and I can't find a pre-order for that for less than like $65-$70.
Yeah,
and for a single album, that's a lot of money. I mean, I'm probably will. It's the only.
It's also like like of their original issues, that's probably the one with where there. I don't. If there was a vinyl version, I don't think there was one in the States.
No.
By that point, by what 96? Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And
it just would have been CD with cassette.
Yeah.
As far as their big album.
That also surprises me because Dirt and Jar of Flies were fairly easy to come by in the reissue.
They are super easy to find. It's the self-titled album that because they just didn't do.
Have they done Unplugged yet?
I think there is one. I don't know if it's still in rotation, but I think you could get it at one time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting though. Like it's also like different genres where I remember in the late 90s, a friend of mine was desperate to find a vinyl copy of Spice by Spice Girls, like desperate, because like apparently like the British pressing was only like 1,000 and there was like a Turkish one.
I mean, if the market could support it, I'm sure, because back then they didn't really think about the collectability of it. They were more, can you sell it? Is somebody going to buy this?
There was a point like after, unless you were Pearl Jam, after 92, you really needed to special order the stuff. It was still being made, but if you wanted it, it wasn't like your local record store was stocking them. Singles still for a little while, like the 45s, I think, because there was still like they were still manufacturing them for jukeboxes. So. And plus, there's an indie tradition with singles with 45. So those didn't die out as quickly. I speak from
but even for people who were like me. So I, a teenager in the early 2000s and stuff like that. Portability was the big thing. Like the portable CD player had kind of just came out during that era. And you had the Walkman, obviously that played cassette tapes and stuff like that too. But like portability to listen to your music on the go and stuff was really big. So you didn't have folks like I wasn't, there was no Caleb at 14 years old wishing that I had a turntable and cool records and stuff of new stuff. It was, I want to be able to take this and put it, as I like seethe and be all angsty in the back of mom's minivan, listen to my, my stuff as I'm on the school bus and stuff too. So portability was a big thing for that market.
Yeah, you can't make a mix LP. Like you can't make and share it with your friends or put it together for yourself. Like that's that's one of those things.
Making those mixtapes. Once they listen to me, they'll fall in love with
it.
They'll know who I am.
They'll know who I am, and they'll fall in love.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Hey, I mean, I used to do that at Christmas time when I was in college. I would make mix CDs for all my friends, and I would do stupid introductions to some of the songs and like personalize the messages.
Yeah.
You know,
Rob
and-
Sager still makes CDs for the holidays.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Maybe this year you'll get one. Maybe.
Manifest it.
I don't know if I have a CD player anymore. So to be honest,
Don't you have a DVD player you can stick it in?
I think I do have one that I can
Yeah.
look up to my Plex server.
Yeah. And another thing people forget about, like the transition from albums to CDs, CDs opened up a whole used market that you just didn't have with vinyl records.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
because the chances of degradation were so much less. People kind of forget that. If you wanted to use albums, you had to go to flea markets or big cities. They really didn't exist, or college towns especially.
Yeah.
I used to haunt the local used CD store that was right down the street from campus, and I would just pick up all sorts of stuff when I wasn't spending my money on DVDs.
I remember my first used CD was almost as much as a regular CD.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It really wasn't that much less.
I mean, I would go and hang out in HMV, and yeah, they would have CDs there that were new that I was like, oh, I think I just paid like the same price at the used place for that. I'm like, ugh.
Well, we're almost 45 minutes in, so we probably should transition over to comic books talk. We do this
a comic book podcast, guys.
Brother. I thought tonight we weren't. We had comics we were going to do, but that's okay. All right. I guess I'm going to go first because I think I have the only Big Two book to discuss.
I think so.
I think that is correct.
So I'll go first and then I'll go last. How does that sound?
That works.
Does that work?
Like a little Bill sandwich.
Yeah. And you guys are my meat.
Bill sandwich.
Okay. So I'm getting caught up on reading stuff. And one of the titles I got caught up with, I'm still missing the last issue. It's in my next DCBS box, but that wasn't going to prevent me from talking about it tonight, was Mr. Terrific Year One miniseries, which again, because of the character's appearance in the Superman film, there probably is a much bigger spotlight on him. Definitely wanted to get a trade out before the holidays. And that makes it sound like crass commercialism, but who cares? I'm glad this exists. So interesting thing about Mr. Terrific, the Michael Holt version, is there was the 8-issue series during the New 52, right at the beginning of New 52. There were 3 issues where he was cover featured as the feature in JSA Classified, if you remember that title. I have not thought about that title in years. And that's been it. Everything else has been team appearances. So it's pretty wild that this character that, warrants, such a big spot in a major film, that his development has all been in team books. That was kind of striking. So again, we just got Mr. Terrific Year One. It's written by Al Letson, who is primarily known as a podcaster and writes for comedy series and things like that. He hasn't been that active in comic books. He had 2 independent series, and then he had he was part of DC, one of DC's new talent programs, like just before the pandemic. So he wrote this, and the artist is Valentine DeLandro, who hasn't really been that active in comics. They were the regular artist on X Factor like a number of years ago. Let me just pull up what some of his credits were here. Bitch Planet, he drew 10 issues of that. Marvel Knights 4. So he hasn't really been that active recently as an artist on at least on Big Two books. There may be other credits, but I didn't see anything beyond that. Both African-American creators, which lends a little more credibility than if been some hack. And I say that as a middle-aged white guy. So where are we with Mr. Terrific? Well, we're at year one, but we're also at present day because this is a series that goes back and forth in time. Basically, the present day is framing the past story, and this builds upon his origin. The original origin was in an issue of the Spectre during John Ostrander's run as writer. And Michael Hull was a gentleman who was very successful in business, incredibly smart in terms of his scientific prowess, and he was ready to kill himself because his wife, who was pregnant, died in a car accident. And it was at that time that the Spectre, but a little more James Corrigan than the Spectre, sat him down and told him about the original Mr. Terrific, Terry Sloan, and how he was kind of one of the few street level characters during the golden age, at least as far as DC is concerned. Though he was like a honorary member of the JSA and had that kind of notoriety, he basically kept it in as a local hero in what was Gateway City, which is kind of DC's Detroit. And I apologize, folks. I'm not going to be quick enough to hit that mic mute button. You're just going to have to deal with some coughs here tonight. I'm very sorry. So what we have here is he's recounting his origin, and we're getting new details. He had a best friend named Dre Dingle. Great name. Great name. Who turned out to be was an Olympian with him and Jefferson Pierce. That's how they, first this group of three originally got together. Jefferson Pierce would go on to become Black Lightning, and eventually becomes like a fitness guru. Kind of a mid-level, but he and Terry are planning on an app that will kind of push him to the forefront, almost like 3D physical fitness app. And it's nice to see that they're throwing in stuff that in technology based isn't that far-fetched. But we get to him, again, it's year one, so we get to Terry with basically a retelling of him, of Michael Hull, basically retelling of him finding out about Terry Sloan, but with some additional details. And Gateway City is about to change its power structure, but people are getting sick. And they're getting sick because of the company that Holt sold his tech company to. And as we go through this, we find there's connections to Apocalypse. There's connections to the Rock of Eternity. There's connections to Lex Luthor. There's connections to Batman. Batman even guest stars in the fourth issue with Black Lightning in the fifth issue. And I'm making it sound 10 times more convoluted than it is, but it's a nice journey through the first early days of a particular character. Steve, if we can just go through some, like, kind of the cover gallery and some of the art here. So this is, you can see here that this is Delandro's art style. Very heavily shaded. I think it's very effective for a character like this. Steve, if you can keep going, this is him first encountering the Spectre. And
I love this color.
This is a beautiful cover.
Great.
Yeah.
And you can also see that that Michael doesn't exactly have the pre-T-spheres, and he doesn't exactly have the costume ready yet. But that was a striking cover. Here we go with him in action with his motto of fair play that he inherited from Terry Sloan. And if you go to here next, I just love this image of him coming through the wreckage after part of a building collapsed on him, and it just him holding the T-spheres up. And then I think the next image, and this is where he encounters a hellhound that eventually becomes his buddy. And I swear he's still a street level character. I swear he is. He just just happens to be the third smartest man on Earth with inventions that no one else can imagine. And then as we go through some of the other covers here, again, this is the 5th issue where Black Lightning makes an appearance. And then I think the next one will be the Batman cover. And it's more Bruce Wayne as a guest star than Batman, because things that are happening in Gateway City are also happening in Gotham with a particular kind of radiation. And as you're going through that, you also see that Batman's keeping tabs on Michael Holt. And this like totally ties into like Rock of Ages asshole Batman, which time wise really kind of fit. So there's one issue left that I don't have, issue 6. It's on the stands now. It'll be in my next DCBS box. But in terms of fleshing out somebody's origin, which prior to this was a 22-page story in someone else's book, this is doing a really nice job.
Yeah, it is really pretty cool. I didn't realize.
And I think you guys will both like this, honestly. I think you guys. Caleb, I know that you're kind of relying upon the DC Infinite app right now. Mm-hmm. The first issue is up on there.
Yes, I saw it the other day. I'm planning on reading it soon.
But I think you guys
I didn't realize.
Dig it. I think you dig the art. It's a little. It's a little off kilter. It's certainly not in DC's house style, which is very refreshing. And that it does have particular types of shading, particularly in the action that takes place, which I think they pegged it as 5 years ago. I don't know. There's a lot of novelty to this that works a lot, and you really can't. Year ones tend to be good miniseries or arcs, so
Yeah, and there's a long legacy of that.
Yeah. But that kind of blew my mind that there's been so little solo stories with this character. There's been so few, and like a lot of his characterization, development came through JSA and Checkmate, because he was briefly the White Knight or White King. I forget what the ranking is there. And then the Terrifics, which I loved. I love
that series. That was
it's really nice to have him have a moment in the solo spotlight like this.
Cool.
Yep. So that's my first book. Now you guys can fight it off, whoever the hell wants to go next.
I'll fight you. What? Caleb, did you want to go?
Sure, I'll go. Yeah,
you've got a couple good books here too.
Yeah, well, I'll start off with the larger publisher, and so big fan of Maria Lovett. I know I've spoken about a lot of her books on here a lot, and she's got a new what will inevitably be a 4-issue series out from Image Comics, and that is Artificial, which is her new book. And if you know Maria Lovett, she is really, she's writing and drawing her own stuff now, which is great. There for a while she was doing art for other people, and there were some fantastic books that she did with my brain is shutting off because I can't think of what word I want to use. The book that she did with, where she was writing basically about the devil reincarnate and the daughter of the devil coming in. I cannot think of that name, so I'm just going to move on because I failed you all. I do apologize.
It's the Brian Azzarello book.
The Azzarello book, yeah. Thankless, which was a 3-part book. It came out in 3 6-issue series, and that's where I really got my first taste of her and who she is. But I'm really digging these little small mini series that she's doing now, where she's writing and doing her own stuff. And she has a particular theme. She is not afraid of the sexy times in her book. There she is.
Smut.
There is some smut there, but to me it's very much it is she is going to show you the sex, but it's always to a purpose. It's always going to do something, right? It does serve the story, and the stories are not inherently about sex just in the sense of, oh, you're only reading this to see images of people fucking, right? Like there's something going on there. And this book it's a really interesting take. And the story is about this younger mid-20s, early 30s maybe, woman named Clara, and she's a woman about town. She's got her wits about her, and she's going through and trying to figure out the scene. And she lives in an age where we all do, where like the dating scene kind of sucks, and it's how are you having to date? Well, you're using apps. Nobody really goes to bars anymore, and she's not sure what's going on, and anything else. But now artificial intelligence is taking off, and in this world, there are sexy time android robots that you can get based on an app, where you essentially sign up for an app, and you can get a free trial even, and you tell them kind of what you want, what you're looking for, and you meet up, and just enough to seduce you. But on the free trial, you don't get to actually get the go the full board. You don't get to do. You get just up to it, and it's like, oh, time's up, we got to go. But if you want to subscribe, you can do that, and then we'll let you customize your profile and tell us what you're looking for, and you'll meet up with your android, who will just completely make your toes curl and be everything you want. But you have to let them go home at the end of the night, or whatever, so they can reload, reboot to come back and serve you later. And so she's kind of dabbling into this, but in the backdrop of all of this, she keeps getting text messages or phone calls from someone named Mateo, who is a real person that she's had a relationship with. And Mateo is asking, hey, look, can we talk? I want to figure this out. And she's just kind of, eventually in the story, we're going to find out what happens there, right? But she's just kind of ignoring this. She doesn't want to go back to that. The book is a strange story, because it really does seem like she's a person looking for some type of legitimate, real human connection, and she is foregoing a actual human being who wants to have that connection for something very artificial, something synthetic, right? But something that she can customize and be more comfortable with. And to me, it really is a treatise on kind of what we're seeing to some degree with social media, where a lot of people are interacting with a lot of bots, but they don't realize they're bots. And so what do we turn to social media for? Well, we eventually originally went there for interaction with other people. Let's find like-minded folks that aren't limited by geography, that we can talk to and make friends with. Case in point, the way I'm on this podcast, period. Meeting up with you guys, met you online, and you guys invited me and brought me into the clubhouse, so to speak. And that can be great, but then now you see what's the dead internet kind of thing emerging, where there's a legitimate theory that over 50% of the profiles online are now bots, and we're talking to people who aren't people, and you're kind of creating communities and working with artificial intelligence when you don't really realize it. And so I think I've only read the first issue now. I think, Steve, you've read beyond the first issue, but that's where I'm at with the story, is really figuring this out and where she's going to go. And, she's got her real life human girlfriends that she's trying to connect with, who are very kind of just like, you're doing what now? Like, what's happening? They're a little bit concerned with her, but they're also, hey, let your freak flag fly. You'll figure this out. Just be careful, have a safe word and don't go too far into it. So, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how Clara navigates Date X, the app, and what's going on with Mateo and what they're doing as far as the plot goes. But for me, first and foremost, the draw to Maria Lovett is just going to be Maria Lovett's art. This woman can tell a story like nobody's business. She is one of a fantastic example. If you're talking to somebody about how silent, almost silent comics work. These aren't silent comics, but there are entire pages or spreads of this book that are complete stories with complete narratives, and there's not a single word on the page, where you're seeing the action. She's showing you and not telling you, and giving you a lot of texture and context to what's going on in this woman's life. But there's not any dialogue. And I think that's fantastic. That is not an easy feat. I am always impressed when artists are able to do that. Now, some of these pages, she is giving you like background words. There are things happening on cell phones and stuff like that. But in some of the pages, here's a good example I've got open. Not sure if you fellas can see this on the bigger screen, but it's there's not any background words or anything or dialogue in this. It's a full-blown shopping trip where you're seeing her do some retail therapy. I'll put it up for the folks. Maybe you can see a bigger picture now, and you get so much in that series, right? You get that she's going out, she's looking for the perfect outfit, she wants to make a good first impression, she's questioning herself, she's trying to figure out what clothes say about her to make again an impression on an android, somebody who's artificial, who is going to like her regardless, but she's still hell-bent on doing it. I can't wait. There's 3 more issues in this series. I really can't wait to see where they go. There's always a weird, quirky twist with her books, and you can kind of tell from the cover that there is something, a very, very common theme in her stories are the nefarious male counterparts, right? Where there's some dark and murky thing. So very much looking forward to seeing the story that she tells. But besides the fact that there's gorgeous art, there's also sexy times. And look, Maria Lovett draws an amazing orgasm. So I will definitely come back for more of that. So go check out what she's doing over at Image Comics. It's really fun stuff. It is for adult readers, so put that in your brain.
Absolutely. Like you said, I've read the 2nd issue, and I believe the 3rd issue comes out maybe this week or next week. But yeah, I mean, her art is very unique, and it's extremely erotic. Even when the characters aren't doing anything necessarily sexual, she has a way of presenting, especially her female characters.
It's almost
but also,
burlesque.
yeah, there's a bit like there's extra skin that's on show. The lips are extra puffy or open in a certain way. Like there's just a lot of erotic imagery and just the way she tells her stories. And
Very
she can
sensual.
really make a silent several pages say a lot.
Yep.
Just through her artwork. But yeah, I've loved a lot of what she's been doing recently. Like I really enjoyed Crave, Violent Flowers,
Eros.
talked about it on this. Eros, yeah. But there's been some really great stuff that she's done. So I'm looking forward to the rest of this mini. So
I'm glad the 2nd issue treated you well. I'm looking forward to reading it.
Yeah, and I think in there that's where we get the start of the real downside to the whole Dadex situation. Yep. So pretty cool stuff. All right, well, I guess I'll go and I'll do my image book to get to go along with, I guess, the 3rd of the big 3, and that is the series Skin Breaker, which is actually the latest Robert Kirkman book. So he's Kirkman, of course, has done a lot of really amazingly large titles over the years. I don't even have to list them, but this time around, he wanted to start something that he's actually been working on for about 8 years with David Fincher. So both he and Fincher got together back in 2017 to talk about this idea that Kirkman had about a fully realized alien world. And the conflicts that arise from the characters that live in this society that is on this world. It's a fairly primitive society that's one more based around hunting and very ritualistic clans, but and the way that they develop and how they change and evolve through that. So the one thing that really kind of surprises me in terms of how David Fincher is doing the art, he is doing everything on full oversized page boards. So because of that, they offer now every issue in the supersized treasury edition. Like they've been doing, I know I've seen it. I know you guys have seen it too. If you've been to a store recently, DC has been doing a ton of these really like supersized treasury editions of like Batman and a couple other major issues. But Skinbreaker is one where the pages themselves, the way Fincher has been drawing them, is in that size, is in that that supersized kind of page format. And because of that, he's able to get a lot more detail in than with hand drawing than maybe he would have otherwise outside of digital. But they are absolutely gorgeous. And one of the things that I'm really excited about is, of course, the covers. Let's see if I can pull them up real quick. But yeah, I mean, some of the covers, there's been 2 issues released so far. There's a 3rd issue that's on its way for the week of Thanksgiving. So if you are following along on the video, you'll see some of these gorgeous examples here of the first issue. And you could tell, like, the characters here, these are, humanoid creatures. They're kind of like maybe part monkey, part human. They're very interesting, an interesting design with them. And I think probably one of the most gorgeous and to me, fascinating parts of this work is the fact that Fincher has created the look, of this planet and these people, down to just the smallest detail, what they're wearing, how their faces wrinkle, like, what their ears do. There's some characters that are missing limbs or missing pieces of them, and it looks so fully realized, and it's gorgeous. The details is crazy. um but in any case, the first issue takes place, on a hunt for the first part of the book, where two warriors, one of them is Enoch, who is the younger of the two, and Anor. Anor is the chieftain for the tribe, and Enoch, or Anok, um, is out hunting with them, trying to get this large beast so that they can celebrate a major ritual that's going to be happening. But the problem is, Anor is telling him that it's it's become apparent that he's a little too old. That as chieftain, he's kind of failing in his strength. He's not able to really provide for the tribe as much, and definitely that's a a big problem, because the tribe themselves pride, their leaders on their strength. And if they don't actually have the physical strength to prove their prowess, then unfortunately it's time for them to go. And that's what Anor keeps telling Anok. It's that, hey, it's my time. Of all the people who are going to be challenging me to take this position, you're the one that I prefer. You embody something of our people that I really respect, and you may be my protege, but there's something that makes you special, that might allow you to go even further than what I could do as a leader. And of course, Enoch doesn't. He doesn't want to hear any of this. He loves this man way too much, and he's like, no, 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 it's not time for you to go. I'm not going to do this. And that, of course, creates the conflict, because there is another hunter that's part of the group, Thule, who sees the chieftain's weakness and wants to take that position for himself. And the rest of the book, uh, Enoch is wrestling with this reality that the man that he respects is going to be killed. And if it's not by his hand, it's by the hand of somebody who he does not respect and is fairly dangerous in his ideals. So, and
David
that's your
Finch
first
is
issue.
unreal.
What'd you say?
David Finch is unreal.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, these pictures, and if you're just listening for the audio version,
Go to Google and
seek
look it
this
up.
out.
Yeah.
Go and look for it. Look for it in the store for sure. Look for it online. The images online, just because it's gorgeous. There's so much here. The colors, I do have to give it to Annalisa Leone, who's on colors. Yeah. She gets the palette. It fits perfectly with Fincher's art. And then you have Russ Wooten on letters, and it's just absolutely fantastic. The second issue, of course, is the battle that has to happen between Enoch and Anor for the position of chieftain. And this is, it's such an emotional fight. It's definitely pretty cool. You have the sword, the skin breaker sword that the chieftain wields, causing some damage left, right, and center. It's pretty fantastic and just gorgeously done. But the way that time moves in this book is that by the end of the second issue, we've actually fast forwarded maybe about 30 years, and we see what happens with Enoch as the chief. And it's fascinating. This is going to be an 8-issue series. I'm not sure if it's going to be going through multiple generations, because Enoch has a son with an interesting disability that fits in with this tribe. that may actually become a major plot point. But it's fascinating. I mean, Kirkman's created this world. The ideas of this world, these characters, these creatures, and Fincher has created the look, and it's a marriage made in comic heaven, to be honest. If you like sort of savage fantasy, so to speak, if you're a big Conan fan, if you like that sort of that sword and sandal kind of feel, this feels like it, but very alien. There's also something very heavy metal about it. Heavy metal comics, maybe not the music, but very heavy metal comics about it that just it would fit in that, or 2000 AD. You could see something like this running in those books. So, but check it out. Skimbreaker from Image Comics by Robert Kirkman and David Finch. And yeah, I don't know, Bill, is this something that would appeal to you?
Not in the least. And it's not so much Kirkman, but I just don't like David Finch's art.
Yeah.
Everybody looks like they're unhappy. That there's like an abrasiveness to it where I don't think there are moments where there shouldn't be abrasion. I just never fancied his art. If it was like him on like the Demon or the Penguin, I would be okay with it, with unattractive characters.
Yeah.
But I don't generally like his art for. I don't find it aesthetically pleasing, really.
Well, maybe here, because these aren't human characters, so maybe it might fit.
Yeah,
very
but
well.
nah. And I honestly, and again, I'm not going into negativity. I just think there are much better storytellers out there. I think there's moments where he doesn't necessarily maximize the storytelling elements that the writer has provided.
Interesting.
Yeah. But it's like, I don't like Howard Porter. I don't, there's certain artists I just don't like. I just don't like their work,
And we do have a comment here from an H. Porter. F you Bill. No.
That's okay.
I won't put that up.
It's just it's just not like everybody's liking.
Yeah.
Steve, you were talking about the oversized DC stuff. I went to the closet and grabbed, like, I don't know if you're watching this, like, this is one of the, it's not one of the Treasury editions. This is like Batman #1, but this thing is like 18 by like 12 or 18 by 30. I mean, this is huge.
So each page is poster size.
They did that with the Hush 2 issues as well.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. And so this is what DC's doing with that, which is great. But the funny thing, like, I ordered through DCBS now, and I'm on Batman. Well, they sent me these. I didn't special order these. They just sent them to me with my package, which I thought was awesome. But also, what am I going to do with this? So, and Bill's like,
I hope that's in my next box.
Yeah, that's what you do with it. But yeah, I did not special order this. They just sent this to me faux free. And it's a large Batman.
I have gotten the weirdest stuff for free from DCBS.
Yeah.
I like there was a point where at some point you were getting free Valiant books.
Wow.
At some point you were getting free Valiant books, like Armor War, not Armor Wars, that's Marvel. Armor Hunters, was that the name of it for Valiant?
Yeah, Armor Hunters from Valiant.
Armor Hunters. I got an Overmind oversized Funko Pop one time, like for the holidays. Yeah, I would really like that. Like, I want that in my next box.
They've been doing it with some of the facsimile editions as well.
But also, there's times where they send you other stuff from other people's orders, like New 52. Around the New 52, like I got, like I was like, I ordered 3 copies of Superboy and Suicide Squad. Like nope. And then when you contact them, they're like, "Oh, just keep it."
Just keep it. It's not worth the trouble to ship it, to pay to ship it back. And
Well, Steve, why don't you take a break for a little bit, and I'll run through my next book real quick, and we'll come back to you. So, a few months ago, I guess it would be now, Bill regaled us with his free comic book day offerings that he had gotten. And at the time, I had nothing to contribute. I had no free comic book day. I didn't make it to a free comic book day thing. And so this afternoon when I got home, after a long day from work, I was, going to get ready, and I knew I wanted to talk about Maria Lovett's Artificial, but I wasn't sure what my second book was going to be. So I went to Ye Old Comic Closet, where I put books that are waiting to be read. And I saw a free comic book day little thing sticking out and saying, "Hey, Caleb, look at me." And so I grabbed it, and that was free comic book day edition of Gargoyles Demona, that Bill's also gotten, and showing it up. Now I'm a
Not quite the Killing Joke, but
no, no, not at all.
Wow, that is sorry, I have to say, that is a perfect tie back to an episode we did 4 years ago
Yeah.
for Thanksgiving, where you two both held up your perfectly slabbed copies of Killing Joke, and I was empty-handed because I don't
Well,
have a
you're
copy.
worse empty-handed when we all had when Brian was with us and we all had Understanding Comics and you did.
Oh God, yeah, and I didn't have that.
Which should be required reading in Sunday school.
I've read it, and but I just
but so
what happened to my copy?
I mean, if you've listened to the show a lot, I'm a Gargoyles fan. I love the series, love the television show. Watched it. Have backed the collected edition of all the Gargoyle stuff on Kickstarter that's supposed to come out in like the hardcover tomes about 2.5, 3 years ago, and still haven't got mine yet, but they still do update with everything. So maybe one day they're going to release it. But, the fine folks at Dynamite brought Gargoyles back, and have been showcasing and bringing their new stories, by the same person who dreamed up the series in the first place, Greg Weisman. And so he's been working with several artists, and so I grabbed this because I have not read it yet, and it is the introduction to a series. I think there's a 4 or 6 issue series of Demona that's going to come out that I'll eventually get and haven't will read. But I wanted to check this out to see what it was, and it was a quick read. So this story actually has, or the free comic book day offering actually has 2 parts. It's got your main storyline, and it's got a little bit of a backup, which was enjoyable. But the main storyline, of course, like all good Gargoyles books, it takes place in the 90s, 1997 or so. And Demona, who, long history with the Gargoyles, used to be a member of the tribe, used to be Goliath's, bumping uglies buddy. But they've since broken up, and she's very much a creature who follows her own path. She's sometimes good, sometimes bad. She's always working towards her own end. Well, she is breaking into and assumedly trying to steal artifacts from a museum. There's an exhibit at a museum. It's Vikings in Japan. So apparently they found Viking artifacts in Japan, and they're showcasing these. And so she's broken into this museum, and she's going to steal it. And lo and behold, one of the artifacts that is there, that it really looks like she's going after, purports to be the actual shield of Odin himself, right? And if you've read Gargoyles lore, you know that there are all of these mystical elements to it, and there are legitimately things that are touched by gods and have these magic, massive magic power structures to them that could give a nefarious person a very dangerous foundation to enact their will upon the world if they wanted to. And so she's going after that. But of course, the clan, the Gargoyles, have caught on to it. So, Goliath shows up with his team. I mean, he's got the trio. He's got, Brooklyn, Bronx, Lexington there. He's got his daughter, his and Demona's daughter, tagging along with them too. And they're going to stop her stop her from stealing this, because Angela is, by the way, his daughter. And so they don't want her to have this power. And so they jump in to stop her. And to some point, it seems like maybe they do. Like they prohibit her from getting Odin's shield. Then it shows back to the Gargoyles at the castle, where, Hudson is there with some of the newer members of the clan that they've introduced in the comics and stuff like that, who are bringing a lot to the story. There's a lot of fun, fleshed out characters to fall in love with, and sitting there talking to these folks and saying, or why aren't you out with the team? And she's like, I don't need to be. I needed to be here with the eggs because they've got a new generation of gargoyles coming up. And so you just see some of the family dynamics that are there. But of course, all good comics need a twist. And as Demona seems to return back to her lair, which is a very the lair of a very wealthy person. So she's she's obviously got some means. Uh, she's empty-handed, so to speak, and her person, her human, is kind of asking her how to go, and she's like, exactly as we planned it. And she shows a locket that's got a piece of hair or a braid in it, and she just says the name Angelica. And I don't know who Angelica is. I need to go read that series to find out. But you can see that she pulled the rope a dope on them, where she led them in a certain direction. They think they've thwarted her plans, but they actually played right into it because Demona is very conniving, right? She's always that person. She thinks everything is, she thinks it out in very deep, plan, detail oriented scheming. So that was fun. The other story that's in this, the backup story, so to speak, shows the clan, and they're in New York City, like all good gargoyle stories are, and they're huddled in their castle on top of the biggest skyscraper in the city, which, if you know the lore, plays a big part in how they ended up being in the United States. And they see a giant glowing thing in the sky, and so they're all looking up, wondering what is that. And the giant glowing thing looks a lot like a number. It's a 4, and it's surrounded by a circle. And it turns out it's the Fantastic Four. Gargoyles actually started out with Marvel. Marvel was the one who first published the first Gargoyles comics, and so there's a history there. But there has not been, to my knowledge, a big crossover event to this degree. And there is actually a series going on right now being published that is Fantastic Four meets the Gargoyles that I cannot wait to read. I'm going to get the collected edition when it finally hits the shelves, but we're going to get to see, the first family of Marvel interact with the Gargoyles and the clan to see how see how they get along and what kind of shenanigans they're going to get into. And that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to this crossover. Visually speaking, the art in the first part of the series leaves a lot to be desired. I'm not going to, I don't want to go overly harsh on it. It's not good. It is very lackluster. I did not, it felt very clunky, very unfinished, very stiff. And that's done by an artist named Frank Parr. Not very familiar with it, but you know what? It was serviceable. It did not, it was not so offensive to my eye that I needed to look away. I finished it. But the art in the backup story, where it's the crossover with the Fantastic Four, Cambitas is the last name of the artist on that book, and it's a very almost like a digital painting style. I actually really enjoyed this style a lot. It's very dynamic, a lot of depth to it. Just very good use of colors as well, very emotive. And so I really enjoyed that art, and I really, really like the way, out of all the characters, I like the way that he draws the Thing. That's really cool, really, really cool. So enjoyed that quite a bit, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they flesh out. But look, Dynamite, if you go into a Dynamite book, regardless, just you kind of with the understanding that you're going to get what you're going to get. There's a spectrum of quality when it comes to Dynamite books. So sometimes they're winners, sometimes they're, as Bill would say, they're La Bamba. This is somewhere right in between. I've really enjoyed the Gargoyles series. So if you like that, if you're needing that Saturday morning cartoon fix, you could do worse than going and picking up any of the Gargoyle books. But I just wanted to showcase the free comic book day offering too. So check those out.
Cool. I like this.
Did you?
Yeah, I don't know much about the characters. I actually didn't have as much of a problem with Frank Pour's art because I felt it was very 90s cartoon.
A little bit, yeah.
And I thought that naturally fit. I didn't have a lot of question marks hanging over who Demona was. They basically give me what I needed in that splash. Saying that these are the gargoyles. She used to be on their side, now she's not.
Yep.
That's all I needed to know.
That's
And
it, yeah.
it's like, okay, this is like a, like a Catwoman or a Black Cat. This is like sometimes she's really bad. But she also had a motivation that was clear for a lot of her actions. And I thought for like a teaser, it was
It
pretty
was.
effective. Yeah.
It was.
So I like that. I'm actually looking for an issue of Gargoyles though. One of the local store owners drew one of the incentive covers for issue number 5. So
Nice. Very cool.
But I wasn't, as taken with the Fantastic Four spot because it seemed like they had a lot of terrain to cover in 4 pages,
Yeah.
and it didn't really feel like that there was like the payoff wasn't as impactful as I was hoping. But no, for the main story, and again, a lot of this might be the influence of actually having the creator writing it. I thought it worked. It worked for me.
Yeah. I think he's used. I mean, he's used to telling these stories and used to working for 15 minutes of story time and a 30-minute cartoon. So he's able to tell a very concise. He's got a very tight script. So
and the daughter is part of the story, and like I didn't have 1,000 questions of like you just went in accepting from the modicum of information that they provided is they're not on the same side right now.
Yep.
And for what it was very effective.
Nice. I'm glad you enjoyed it. That makes me very happy.
And nice colors throughout.
Yeah.
Nice colors throughout.
Well, I mean, that's what kind of stood out. And I think, Bill, you mentioned it too. The 90s animation look out of it. I think color wise, just the style of the art was very cartoon, and it,
there's something about a 90s animation purple. There and that runs through X-Men, that runs through Spider-Man. I assume it runs through this.
It does, yeah. Purple plays a heavy
role. Maybe it's like a fairly easy color to animate against. I don't know.
And pink,
but yeah, that's I love that purple. All right, Mr. Wants Some Pie. What's your next book?
Well, this one is definitely more of an independent. In fact, it's actually published by a company called Fievel and Friends in the U.S., and it's kind of like a boutique publisher. I believe they're part of Macmillan, but I'm not entirely sure. They are in New York. Yeah, it is an imprint of Macmillan Publishing, Fievel and Friends in New York. And the book that I'm talking about is called Arcana, The Lost Heirs. It's actually the part of a duology. The writer and artist, Sam Prentice Jones, had planned it as a 2-book, sort of like a 2-book series. But what's really interesting is that this book is very thick. I mean, for a graphic novel, it's at I want to say it's just at like 370 pages. So it's a good size, and it's a great part 1. But this book is wonderful. I actually really, really loved it. I picked it up on a whim. I hadn't read anything about it or seen any advertisement on it, which, shame on me. I should have been looking. But I'm really happy that I did just take the chance on it. It did come out this year. It's a pretty self-contained story, even though it is going to be in 2 parts. The second book that's coming hopefully early next year is The Cursed Fate. But it concerns a organization in England called the Arcana. And the Arcana is kind of like, they described it in the book as sort of like a magic MI6. They are a agency that works alongside humanity and the government to keep tabs on the supernatural, to sort of work between that line of the unnatural and natural worlds and make sure that magic doesn't get out and hurt normal people, but that also normal people don't get accidentally thrown into things that they don't understand. And so this agency has a history of being headed up by the heads of the most powerful families of magic users. Until just about 20 years ago. Something happened 20 years ago, and now the leadership is a trio of people who were democratically elected. So something happened where the heads of the previous families kind of stepped aside or whatever and allowed the leadership to change up. Um, so there's several members that are younger. They're the children of these families. You have Daphne, Sunny, and James that are all sort of legacy children, in their 20s of these these leader clans. And then you also have Coco, who comes from a normal family, but she's also very powerful as a witch. Um, but they encounter somebody named Eli. Eli is this chubby, cute barista in a small village who also just so happens to be an extremely powerful witch himself. Although he's still learning, he's still trying to figure himself out. And it's him sort of playing around with magic that gets him on the radar. And James encounters him first at the coffee shop, not really realizing who it was, and then again at this old house on a hill that's been, setting off magic radar back in London. So James realizes that Eli, this really cute barista that he's been checking out, is this powerful witch. So he invites Eli to come to the Arcana in London and just kind of, introduce him and see if maybe he can join the group and learn how to harness his powers. But somehow simmering under all of the surface with, introducing these wonderful characters, having these interactions, there's something sinister going on. And Daphne encounters one of these sort of shadow creatures on the underground, and it warns her that the blood will boil, and that all of the blood will come together and fulfill the nature of the curse. And of course, what they mean by that, probably the blood of all the families being together in the Arcana for the first time in over 20 years. So just a really interesting story itself, fascinating. Characters are so well fleshed out. The art is great. It's this beautiful style. He loves playing with color, so he uses a lot of monochromatic palettes, but at the same time, it changes. There's a lot of variation here. So in this image, it's more yellows and oranges and shaded grays. But in this one, in a dream sequence, it's red and black and just, and pinks, where Eli is having a nightmare. But eventually Eli, James, and Coco decide they're going to have a seance and try to figure out what's going on. And in doing so, kind of let loose the curse. So I absolutely love this book. I was so happy I got to find it. I'm so happy I took the chance on it. And I really recommend it for anybody who's fans of sort of, long form graphic novel stories, magic societies, and just, really cute queer storytelling, because there are many queer characters in this. Obviously Eli and James are they become a very cute couple. There's a lot of blushing that happens among the different characters. One of the main Arcana scions is a trans woman. It's just really well represented for the community. And also here's an image of the author. This is Sam Prentice Jones. And he just strikes me as a very fun person. So he's been illustrating for years, and this is his first, big novel that he's been working on. So Sam Prentice Jones. Yeah, I think you'd love it. I think
I need to get this.
So, but it's fun. So pick it up, Arcana: The Lost Heirs, and then hopefully not too long of a wait, because I really don't want to wait that long. The Cursed Fate when it is released.
Okay, cool. I will come up in pole position to bring up the final book on our discussions tonight. I've been buying a lot of Mad Cave books lately, primarily the licensed stuff between the Gotchamon books and Defenders of the Earth and what's the other one? Speed Racer.
Speed Racer.
Yeah,
Yep.
I've been buying a lot of Mad Cave, but I've also been buying, given a chance at, especially their first issues. It almost feels like the old Image days. You always got the first issue from Image, no matter what it was. And I'm kind of that way with Mad Cave. And it's interesting that I chose this book because we're on a chat with our friend Brian Newberry, and I read this book and I felt it was very bleak, and that was a couple days ago, but it stayed with me. The story has stayed with me, so that's telling me that it might have more of an impact on me than I initially thought. The writer is Mark Russell. I'm a sucker for Mark Russell stuff, but it's interesting because one Mark Russell series that I did not cotton to at all was oh damn it, what's the name of it?
Was it We Are Robots?
Not All Robots.
Not All Robots.
Not All
That's
Robots.
I loved it, and you were like,
Yeah. So Steve, if you loved Not All Robots, the first issue of Terabytes is for you. Now, what immediately strikes out is this gorgeous Wando cover. Like just absolutely gorgeous colors. This scene is not exactly in the book. The robots there don't exactly look like that. The person that has the VR on their head doesn't exactly look like that, but that's okay because it turns out Terabytes is actually an anthology series like Mark's immediately preceding Mad Cave series, Vanishing Point. So where are we in this first issue of Terabytes? Well, we're about 100 years in the future, and there's a robotic force that has landed on the remnants of Earth. And Steve, you may have one picture from that, from what I provided. Yeah, so this is the initial thing where they're landing on Earth. It's a farm robotic culture, and then they find a recorder of some sort, and that takes them back to 2035. And there was a gentleman, an entrepreneur, and he was putting together a device that was called Final Daze, DAZE, which was a virtual reality headset that plugged right into your brain, and in your final days, you were not feeling pain. You were actually reliving the happiest moments of your life. So, that doesn't sound that bad to me, but to get to that point was horrific. They're experimenting on animals. They're experimenting on prisoners. They go to Africa in the distressed areas and experiment on those people. So this dude Shaw is not exactly a cool dude, but as I was saying when we talked about Vanishing Point, there is that Twilight Zone O. Henry aspect to the endings, and this fucker gets one. But the final page provides that there may be a link, though this is an anthology series, so this is why I'm interested in pursuing this possibly. There may be a link because of a message that goes out to one of the robotic characters, which just blows your mind when you turn that page. So I think this is like Vanishing Point, scheduled for 6 issues. I'm gonna see what Terabytes 2 looks like on the surface, and also see if my suspicions are correct about there being some connective tissue with this story with the other stories that they're going to tell. But Steve, especially if you like Not All Robots, this is right in that wheelhouse.
That's awesome, because I was wondering what it was about, and how I've just been reading a lot of horror anthologies recently, and I'm like, ooh, sci-fi horror. That'll That's always good.
Yeah.
And Mark Russell, come on.
Yeah. Though I did discover I'm
Gets to know
missing
anything he
a few Ahoy issues from him, so I got
Yeah, I saw that. There was a
Yeah.
you decided that you wanted no number 4 issues.
I know it's just like number 4. Oh, I'm not gonna buy that. It was like 3 series. Nuts. Yeah, one wasn't Russell though. I forget what that like. My Bad was Russell. Second Coming Trinity was Russell.
Yeah.
But the other one I don't think was Russell, but it was an Ahoy book. So, but yeah, I do recommend that. I'm not sure how far I'll go into the series. Vanishing Point was wonderful, so that's kind of kicking me in the direction I probably should be going though. All right, so we are at the first of our last 2 stops on an episode of the Comic Book Bears, and that the first on the beginning of our end of our journey is our Geek Gets segment, and that's where we highlight stuff that we got in the last week and a half, 2 weeks since our last episode that we picked up that are somewhat genre oriented or just cute. We'll preface that. So, Steve, do you have anything? You're on mute, dude. You're on mute.
El
You're
Muto.
muted.
Grr, grr, grr.
We can't hear you.
There we go.
There
Yeah,
you go.
now you can hear me. Okay. So one of the things that we had gotten the last time, but we hadn't talked about it because we totally forgot because we're terrible people. Was a wonderful gift that came to us from our good friend and friend of the show, Mr. John Runyon, and he, of course, and his group are part of Bamboo Press, and had a particular book that they had come out with. I believe was it earlier this year or was it last year?
It was earlier
this year, yeah.
Earlier this year. Called Cosmotrope, and wonderfully he was able to send us the Bamboo Panel special issues, and we got some really great special covers too. So like this one by Clang Quigley, which, oh boy, woof. And then a couple other really great covers here. Yes. And of course he signed this. And,
Comic Book Bear.
Comic Book Bear specifically. Yes.
Yeah.
And great ash can here for the Bamboo Clan, and another Cosmotrope as a standard cover as well, issue number 1. Yeah. So I was just so blown away by this. I know he had told us that they were coming, but
yeah,
still when I opened the package,
all 3 of us got copies.
Yeah,
that's worth mentioning. So,
and legitimately not saying this just because we like the guy, because we have a connection to him and through the show and stuff like that. Legitimately good comics.
Yep.
Like I very much enjoyed both of these. Ruby's Diner.
And they were quick reads, but in a fun way, and not that like image splash page 1992 way.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were very quick. The 2 were very quick reads, and I love that.
I thoroughly endorse Cosmotrope. That is a fun book. I like it. I mean, who doesn't like a good werebear? Yeah.
Literally, who doesn't like a good werebear? Yeah. Who are these people? Where are they? What's wrong with them?
So thank you for sending us all of that. It was like in stickers, swag. I love. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, big shout out to John. Thank you so much, John.
We heart you, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Caleb, what about your Geek Get?
So my Geek Get's a little bit different this time than we've done. Kind of made a sneak peek earlier, but I want to introduce you guys to somebody. Come here, buddy. Come here. Oh, goodness. This little fella is Chester. Oh, did we lose somebody?
Oh, no, I just put you on full screen.
Okay, gotcha. It did something weird. This little buddy is Chester. He is our newest addition to the family. We went to take our big fluffy dog Banner to the groomers almost 2 weeks ago on Sunday, and the terrible people who run the animal shelter were having an adoption event up there, and so I happened to walk around the corner and see Roger just kind of staring at the trailer, and then I walked up and he was looking at a hound dog. And if you've ever seen pictures of our dogs, we're a very pro hound dog family. And I turned around and just I knew that I had lost this battle. And so Chester is our new buddy. He's our new puppy. He is fitting in pretty well, doing a good job. Has not destroyed too many things. Has had a few potty incidents, but we are working on that. But is ultimately just a very loving and very good buddy. And so we're very happy to have him in the family. So, as all things, I am a collector, and apparently we collect puppies now. So,
you can tell by the way he has his head on your neck there. He knows he's home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows he's home. That's so beautiful to see. Did you name Chester?
No, Roger named Chester.
After Chester Bennington?
Chester Bennington.
Okay.
So Roger's Lincoln Park. Sorry, buddy, you're stealing the spotlight. Lincoln Park is my husband's favorite group from like his high school era. That was very very. We've got all their albums on vinyl and stuff like that. He absolutely loves them. So it was his turn to name the dog, and I said, "Look, I'm not even going to weigh in. I'm not going to give you suggestions or anything. You pick the name." And he said, "Well, he looks like a Chester," and so we decided to name him.
He definitely does.
So, but yep, Chester Bennington after Lincoln Park.
That's
all right. Cool.
He's so adorable. Yeah, as James had said, he's so ready for his close-up, Mr. DeMille. He is definitely a beautiful boy. Yeah, he's adorable. And he fits in with the rest of the crew.
Yeah,
for sure.
All of our dogs are this tri-colored, like black, white, and brown dogs. Like even so, we have him when we think he's a coonhound. We have a foxhound, and we have a beagle mix, and then Banner is part Anatolian, part Great Pyrenees, but he's that tri-colored, too. So apparently we have a theme around here.
Is there an estimate for how old Chester is?
We think he's a little over a year old. But he's still very much the kind of a puppy mode. He's about 45 pounds. So looking at his
he's looking right at the camera.
Oh yeah,
he's looking right at the
Chester.
Camera.
Chester, hello, Chester. Hello.
Say hi. Say hi.
He's made his debut. Okay.
Oh yes.
It's not always Steve's cats.
Yeah. Well, usually I don't bring them up on purpose. They kind of just climb onto the desk and like, what are you doing over here? What are you doing?
Yeah. Well,
jumping around the back.
My Geek Get is so inconsequential now, but I'll still run through it. As you guys have noticed, I have been the slowest collector of the Spin Master Superman series. And I got another one, but I got a big one. I got tired of waiting for this to go on clearance, but there was a Target coupon, so I got the big one. I got the Luthor Corp Lab.
Oh, nice
set, which has Metamorpho, the aforementioned Mr. Terrific, Superman, Caleb's favorite Joey, Crypto, and Lex Luthor. In a costume that apparently was apparently used in an outtake that didn't make the final film, which is mirrors one of his battle suits.
I almost bought that at Target not too long ago.
Yeah, it is a Target exclusive, only at Target. Yeah. So I got that.
That's a pretty good Geek Get. I almost got that just for the Mr. Terrific alone. But,
Mr. They have two separate Mr. Terrifics on that size though.
That's cool though. That's a good collection.
Yeah, so I'm coming in the home stretch. I just need the Superman and the what's his name? Mr. Terrific, the separate ones that have the Gary build a figure. There's a version of Guy Gardner that I need, which is like the spinny kind of version, and I might get the radio controlled Crypto.
I've got the Superman from that series. He's over there on the shelf. I've got the Superman and the Hawk Girl.
Okay.
Which is a great design, even though they didn't. That was the one character I felt was lacking in the movie.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. Sadly, maybe in the sequel we'll see the Justice Gang again, and
Yeah,
give
we've
Hawkeye
already
more.
seen them again in Peacemaker.
That's true. We
Yep.
did see her in
Yep.
Peacemaker, so
Yep.
she did make another appearance in Peacemaker and was pretty funny there. So,
All right, we're going to wrap this episode up, and we're at our final stop, and it's a segment we call the Woofs of the Week. I'm sorry, my throat can't do all the nuances. In the bear community, if you find a fellow attractive, you woof at him, and we do something similar to that. We woof at something which probably is comic book related, but maybe not comic book related. It might be a film, might be a TV program, might be a charitable initiative, anything under the sun that we think you, fair listener or viewer, may be interested in sampling. I'll start as I always do with Steve. Steve, what is your woof of the week?
my Woof of the Week goes out to a movie, and it is, of course, a horror movie because I've been really giving in to my love of horror.
Spooky November,
Spooky November, spooky October, spooky November, spooky August, September, and spooky December. It's all going to happen. But the one that I am talking about today just was released on video on demand, and that is Queens of the Dead, and it is directed by Tina Romero. I believe a little bit related to Mr. George A. But this is, of course, it's a zombie movie involving drag queens, they, thems, everybody under the sun as part of the community. It is just fun. It's goofy. It's got a lot of great moments and still keeps up the same commentary that Romero zombie movies are known for, even through the comedy. And even with the comedy, I think there's a really great scene that kind of mirrors all the zombies in Dawn of the Dead coming to the mall because this was so important to them. Well, of course, what's really important to people in 2025, their phones. And there's an amazing scene where that comes into play. But it's great. It's got a wonderful cast. It's got Margaret Cho in it. It's got, let's see, Katie O'Brien, Jack Haven, who you may recognize under other previous names. But they have a very different role in this movie. You've also got Nina West. So if you're a fan of drag queens in Ohio, Nina West is in this. Cheyenne Jackson, Ricky Lindholm. It's such a great cast. I really recommend it. It's funny. It's not as scary as other zombie movies, and some people may not enjoy the camp as much, but if you do, you probably already had this on your list. So Queens of the Dead by Tina Romero.
Okay, cool. Over to Caleb. Caleb, what is your wolf of the week?
Yeah, so I want to apologize. I did not get a thumbnail sent over to Steve for this, but my wolf of the week is actually going to be. It's a little bit music. It has a foot in two fields. It's music related and kind of politically related, and that goes out to a singer songwriter who is making a lot of waves and a lot of headway right now. Mr. Jesse Wells. If you're not familiar with Jesse Wells. Very much a folksy type of singer-songwriter. He was just nominated for 4 Grammys. So, good luck on those. But he is kind of making news. He writes very politically motivated songs about current events, and he writes these things very quickly. And his most recent kind of blip on the news is he went on The Late Show, and he sang one of his newest songs, which is really it takes a shot at ICE and the kind of people who sign up for ICE to, who have accepted those $50,000 payments to go do that, and kind of what they are doing to go hunt down, just minority people and commit, a smorgasbord of constitutional violations and things like that. I think this is important, not just from the fact that I tend to kind of be of the persuasion that I would agree with him, but even if I were not to be of that. I'm a big fan of the First Amendment, right? And so, to go on national TV and to sing a song, to write a song that's taking a shot at, kind of what he thinks to be a fascist organization, a very dangerous organization being led by very dangerous people. And to do that is a very serious thing, because that could, number one, it could just derail his career. It could also put him in physical danger. But he did that. So hats off to you, Mr. Wells. Thank you for the music you make and your voice and being willing to take a stand against something. And so I think that's very important. So does Chester.
Oh, now it's Bill's turn to be on mute.
Sorry about that. Caleb, you profiled that guy and you didn't say where he's from?
Oh, he's from Arkansas.
There you go.
Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry, that's funny. Yeah, no, he's from around here. He's from Arkansas, and it is also great for me to see this guy that started off making videos on YouTube and TikToks where he would literally just go out in the woods underneath power lines and shoot videos of him singing these songs and writing these songs and stuff that he made. And now he's nominated for 4 Grammys. So just the comeuppance there that he's gotten in the audience from a very grassroots kind of counterculture standpoint that he's done is pretty. Number one, it's an impressive feat, but it does warm your heart to see anybody who puts in that kind of grassroots work. Outside, especially in country music, to be able to gain this level of fame outside of the Nashville scene, that's pretty amazing.
Oh, sorry. I'm fighting a losing battle with the throat here. It's been the whole week like that. Sorry about that. For my woof of the week, I am providing the woof to a film, but I'm also providing that woof to a product that 2 of us are involved with that's coming out very soon. So as most people know that listen to the show, Steve has an ancillary podcast called CBB. That's us. CBB presents the Bear Cave of Terror. And I was on again to profile the film Jaws 2. Now, in prepping for that, I watched Jaws 2 again. Maybe it'd been like 2 years or so since I last saw it. And I have to say, this time I really appreciated it again. I mean, I really appreciated it in a way that I haven't in quite some time. And it brought back some particular memories. I mean, I wasn't even, I hadn't even turned 11 when I saw it. And so I think I was 10. I was 10 years old still when it came out. And I remember being so jealous of the counselor in trainings, the CITs at my summer camp, because they would get together on the weekends and go sailing, whether it was in the Jersey Shore or some of the bigger lake areas up by New York State. And when I saw Jaws 2, that's my mental picture of what those guys were doing, minus the shark chomping at their ass. So it was nostalgia for me, but it was also really nice to view this from a lens outside of the natural film that it would be compared to, which was the watershed film that was Jaws in 1975. So I really enjoyed this, but just to tie it in with the Woof, if you can see the film, it just ended a rotation on Netflix. It pops up on Tubi every year for Shark Week, so hopefully you won't have too long since it's a Universal owned property. Maybe it'll be appearing on Peacock again at some point soon, but see the film. There is a Blu-ray that has all 3 sequels for a fairly cheap price, so that might be the route to go if you want to see it again. I also went through the full novelization, which isn't a novelization, so you can tune into the episode to find out the backstory on that. But also, I wanted to give a very big shout out in my real woof to a website, particularly their YouTube site, which is the Daily Jaws, which has just a plethora of interviews from with Jaws 2 from the director of the film, the original director that was let go after filming started, many of the cast members. And since this was Jaws' 50th anniversary, there's also a series of interviews with people that just love the film, like Simon Pegg and Charlie Benanti from Anthrax. It's just a really cool setup that they have. So Jaws 2, CBB presents the Bear Cave of Terror Jaws 2 episode with Steve and myself, the Jaws 2 novelization, and the Daily Jaws. That's my one for the week.
All the things Jaws 2.
All the things Jaws 2. And there would be some merch here, but it's kind of expensive, so I'm on the lookout for that now too.
If anybody has the entire trading card set,
the trading
let
card
Bill
set and
know.
on those cups, I really want those
The
cups.
cups.
Oh,
The cups must be
God.
found.
The cups must be found, and at least one must be mine.
Steve and I were talking a little bit about that this weekend, and I don't know. That may be one of the most iconic lines from any sequel. Like the "just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water." Like that's like that. That is truly an iconic line now. And it gets homaged all the time.
Yeah,
absolutely. Parodied, homage.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they've been reusing or referencing that line for so many movies for the past almost 50 years because of how good that line is. And I think we actually were able to figure out who that person was who came up with that line. But I mean, that is perfect marketing 101. I hope they teach that. I hope they teach about that person in business school. Like if you're ever you want to be an icon, do something like this guy.
They earn their paycheck.
Absolutely.
With that one. All right, well, we're wrapping this one up now. Again, we are the Comic Book Bears podcast. You can find us on most of the social media platforms as Comic Book Bears. We are on Facebook as Comic Book Bears Podcast. If you want to write to us, please do so by sending an email to comicbookbears@gmail.com. If you want to listen to us, you can listen to us through Apple Podcasts, through Spotify, and many of the other podcatching platforms. If you've joined us through Facebook Live or one of the other live feeds, thank you. If you're watching us later on YouTube, thank you. And please like and subscribe. We'll be back in 2 weeks. This is our last opportunity to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, at least the stateside folks that join us regularly. So enjoy your turkey or your tofurkey, depending upon how you were wired. So until December, I'm Bill Zanowitz.
I'm Steve Morey.
I'm Caleb Alexander McKenzie.
You're going to hear a woof and an explosion. If you're listening to the audio version, we'll be back again in 2 weeks. Take care, everyone.
Bye.